What's going on, guys? My name's David, and if you've been having wrist pain when you do your dumbbell curls like the one Sam Sulik does, or wrist curls with the barbell, this is something that's not too common in America, but around the world arm wrestlers do this a lot. Or if you do barbell curls, easy bar curls, and you also get a lot of pain here, which prevents you from doing the lift. Watch this whole video because I'm gonna give you exercises that are really good substitutes for these. They're gonna take away your wrist pain 100% and are not gonna stress these sensitive areas. So as some background, I'm an arm wrestler. I've been arm wrestling for 5 years, and I've tried out many different kinds of exercises for the forearms and the biceps and the flexors. And this is because we use a lot of belts, so there's a lot of wraps to experiment with, a lot of different cupping tools. I've used PVC pipes for cupping. I built my own DIY tools, and I know that there's a few common injury-prone areas in the wrist that a lot of people get pain in. This one is one of the most common ones. I call it the outside wrist, because if you have your arm here, it's on the outside. This one's really common if you go in a supinated position. I've had it come up a lot when I try to do any type of wrist curl horizontally like this. It's very common. A lot of people, when you're arm wrestling, there's always flare-ups for this. And there are definitely ways to get around the pain. You don't have to miss out on any gains to avoid the pain. And if you do have pain and you're still trying to push through, you should not be doing that, because that means that the exercise just does not fit with your biomechanics and you have to pick another exercise. There's some exercises that certain people just can't do because of the way they're built. All right, so starting off with wrist curls off the bench. This one very commonly can lead to pain in this area. The exercise I'm gonna recommend to get around this pain, but still train your forearm to the maximal extent, and I hypertrophy all of this, is gonna be using a Wristmax, just like this. I've linked it in the description box below. What you do with this is you attach it to a cable and you pull towards yourself like this. And here's a video of me doing it. So as you can see, I'm just pulling towards myself, and I'm using some back. I'm putting my back into it as well. And this is because when you try to just like use only your hand, cover it with your hand, it doesn't work that well. Trust me in this. It just doesn't lead to the same experience. You have to put a little bit of body movement into it. When you move the weight with your body a little bit, it's gonna let you go heavier. And going heavier, it's actually a good thing because this allows you to put more weight on the eccentric portion. So when you bring it in with your body, the weight's gonna come up like this. You can even go slowly. You can let it expand your hand slowly. The eccentric portion is what damages the muscle tissue the most. This is what causes the most stimulus. This is scientifically proven. The negative part, the part where your muscle is expanding back into its original length, right? So this is gonna be really good for growing your wrist flexors. And the reason why causes less pain on this area is because compared to a dumbbell curl off the bench, the force vector of the weight, when you have it on the bench, right? Let me try to demonstrate. The force is going straight down into your hand, right? So the force vector is going 90 degrees like this. This causes the most stress possible on all these joints in your wrist. Your wrist has to hold all of this up on its own. And with the Wristmax, what happens is you move the force vector in a different direction. So now the force is going into your fingers. When you have your wrist cup like this, it's going slightly into your hand. So a lot less now into your hand than before. This takes away pretty much all the pain. Obviously, if you go very heavy, you might get some flare-ups, but if you're not maxing out, you'll be okay with this. And the reason I got this was because I wanted to make my finger stronger for arm wrestling. So this one, it's marketed as a finger training tool, but I was very surprised when I started using this in how sore this part would get the next day. And after a month or so, it was crazy. Like, you know, some people have the upper chest shelf where the upper chest kind of pops out. I had the same effect, but on my wrist flexor, it started popping out a little bit. I do want to mention that there are a couple sizes to this. There is a small size and also a large size. I suggest go with the large size, even if you have smaller hands, because the smaller one is just too small and it more closely resembles the next tool I'm going to talk about right now. So there's another tool that arm wrestlers use to train their wrist flexor, and it looks like this. I don't have a video of me doing this, but Here's an arm wrestler doing it. So this one is kind of similar to the Wristmax, but it incorporates your fingers less. So this one's gonna be more on the hand. So it's like a blend between the Wristmax, where it's gonna be the least painful, and just a dumbbell curl off the bench, where as I was saying, the force vector goes straight into your wrist. So you still might get pain on this. I definitely have more pain on this than with the Wristmax, but it's definitely an improvement over the standard wrist curl. So there's a special tool you can buy directly off Amazon that already has the whole thing set up, but you can also make it DIY, and this is how you do it. So you get a judo belt. I've linked this in the description. You make a knot in it, so now it's a loop. And what you do, you attach this into the cable, right? So this is attached on the cable. You get yourself a water bottle, literally just a standard water bottle that you can grip well, and you pick a width that you like. You put it through like this, and this is the part some people mess up on. When I was showing this exercise to some of my friends, they get confused sometimes. But what you do, you put it through, and now you pull. So you do the same motions with the Wristmax. You'll feel with this one, because there's less fingers, because you're putting more of your hand into it, you're gonna get more of that pain in here. But that's just relative to the Wristmax. This is still a good substitute over the regular dumbbell curl. I do recommend you to try out, see how it feels. I guarantee it's gonna be a lot less stressful on this part of the wrist than dumbbell curls you've been doing. All right, and now finally, if you've been having wrist pain when you do your bicep curls, you may have tried using an easy bar, which takes away some of this pain because it puts you in a more pronated position. So it takes you from this to this. But it's still pretty common for people to have wrist pain, even with the easy bar. And my suggestion for you would just be to fully transition to hammer curls. Some people think hammer curls, it's gonna target the brachialis and the brachioradialis a lot more compared to the bicep, which is true. It's gonna emphasize these muscles a bit more. But if you ever tried doing hammer curls, emphasizing the eccentric part, the main thing that's going to be sore the next day, most likely, is going to be the bicep and not the brachioradialis or brachialis. There's separate exercises you can do specifically for these four muscles that hammer curls supposedly target. But overall, if you do them with dumbbells, alternating like this, and you use a heavy load, you have to use a heavy weight, because this is gonna tear the muscle down on the eccentric part when you control it. It's gonna make you super sore the next day. This is the only bicep variation that doesn't irritate this part of the wrist. So I found that doing curls of any type of supination causes pain, but when I do a hammer curl, this is the least pain. And I even get pain in the pronated position. But hammer curl is the least, and you're gonna feel your biceps a lot. Also, you could just start spamming pull-ups in a pronated position like this. If you do a lot of pull-ups, your biceps are gonna grow. Pull-ups on their own, you should be doing them. I think this should be your main exercise, just because there's so much functionality with pull-ups. If you have a strong weighted pull-up, you can do muscle-ups, you can do one-arm pull-ups. It's just sick overall to be strong on pull-ups. And just look at Andrei Smayev. This is the guy from Russia. He mostly did pull-ups his whole life. He has the world record for the heaviest pull-up. I think it's something like 350 pounds of additional weight. And look at this guy's biceps, they're fucking huge. And that's all achieved from pull-ups. So you just gotta go heavy. Don't be scared of the heavyweight guys. A lot of guys, they do light weights for some reason. If you can control the eccentric portion and you can do around like 5 reps or more, heavy is definitely good. Also, some people are scared to go heavy on forearms. As an arm wrestler, I think this is a huge myth that you can't go heavy, because we max out all the time. Arm wrestling itself is basically doing a 1 rep max on your bicep when you're arm wrestling someone. And trust me, your tendons can handle this, because the tendons, they're the thickest on the extremities of your limbs. So in your ankles, your Achilles tendon is the thickest. And then as you go up your leg, your knee tendons are a bit thinner. They just get thinner the further you go inwards into your body. So like the shoulder is gonna be weak, but this is gonna be stronger. And then the wrist is even stronger. So your tendons can handle a lot of weight, trust me. But you just gotta build up to that point and focus on form. All right, that's it for the video, guys. Thank you all for watching. Please let me know if you found this helpful. And again, I've linked all the products I mentioned in the description box below. You can check them out there. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.